All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the first official Sister City Committee as a permanent committee meeting. No longer blue ribbon status, we're a permanent status. But we'll just take roll call vote. Robert Kennard. Here. Mary Carey Foley.
Yeah.
Ben Van Camp.
Here.
Robert Sullivan.
Here.
Stephanie Secord. Christine Freeze.
Here.
And Chair Rich Playlock.
Getting somebody in the waiting room.
Thank you.
All right, first item on the agenda, we have, old business. Permanent committee ordinance, we passed second and third reading on the council level, so we're a permanent committee, so this committee will exist. Or until some council gets rid of it, but it will exist forever unless that happens. Which I thank all of you for all the work we put into the 10 goals of the committee. But I think it's important the council agreed and yeah, get to work.
Did the ordinance change anything in the way the committee has operated in the past?
No, it did not. After I can happily share the final. So we all have it, so we all for our reference, I think it'd be good. I know it's always good to remind myself, what is the goal of what is the intent?
Plus, I can put it on our page on the website, which would be a good thing.
That would be a really good thing, yeah, then the public would be able to access it.
Stephanie, can you change the blue ribbon on our name? Because I saw it again today. I was just thinking of it.
That's above my pay grade.
Okay.
So I will remind Monty that we
Okay.
need to do that.
All right, I entertain a motion to bring up, where do we have? Our discussion with Carrickfergus, discussion with Friends Forever.
So,
Give a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
well,
Yeah, welcome our friends. But yeah, floor is yours.
I'm Steven, this is Amelia, and this is Jess. I think what we're trying to do is Ben had invited Amelia after seeing her present at the Portsmouth Rotary Club to talk about the relationship that Friends Forever could help facilitate with Carrickfergus. I'm not sure, Amelia has some handouts there and stuff we should probably pass around.
Yeah, and maybe just as a primer for the
Yeah.
conversation for you all, the Sister City effort had kind of fallen by the wayside with COVID and some of that, and has been a year and a half now, and starting to get picked back up. And so we're having to reestablish a lot of relationships and things like that. So like Carrickfergus is on the list of ones that we don't really have a strong connection with. And when I learned of the connectivity locally with you all, I thought that might be a good way to learn how we can start rebuilding that.
Great. Yeah, well, we're definitely interested in that. Again, my colleague Amelia created this quick sheet for everybody to take a look at. We, of course, got a photo, I believe, of Mayor Foley in there. So but we're deeply entwined both with Carrickfergus. So just for anybody who doesn't know, we're based in Durham. We were started out of Portsmouth 40 years ago out of the Portsmouth Rotary Club. And our very first team of young people that we worked with doing work in the Troubles was from Carrickfergus. So I think out of that relationship, we've had hundreds of young people come through the program, et cetera. Jess is not from Carrickfergus, but she's from Northern Ireland, so we just figured we'd bring her here for that.
It's here for accent.
In case anybody doesn't believe us. We have one.
Work in Northern Ireland.
We have one here. And so, you know, I won't go into all that Friends Forever does, but we're very much into community building through using young people. And we bring over a group from Ireland and Northern Ireland every year here. We actually have a center based about an hour and a half from Carrickfergus. So Amelia's got a flyer there we can pass around. So we have actually established an NGO in Northern Ireland, Friends Forever here. So that's our sister NGO. We have a big facility there. It's right in the water. It's in between Belfast and Dublin. Sleep 60, dormitory, 4 private cottages, et cetera. We'll be heading there actually in a couple of weeks for a group. On the other thing with Carrickfergus is not only do we have a lot of alumni there, we've recently reestablished ties with the Rotary Club in Carrickfergus because this is our 40th year since they started us. We have a global grant in place for Rotary International, to bring a group of 10 young people from Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Peru to our site in Northern Ireland to facilitate global peace building. And Carrickfergus was thrilled to be back engaged with us. So we'll be meeting with them in April, also obviously in August. So we're very happy to facilitate any sort of conversations, engage with them. Carrickfergus, I don't know how many people, I know Bob has probably been there, but I don't know how many of you have been there. It's very small. Everybody knows everybody. So, you know, if you guys give us any materials to bring to our Rotary people over there, they'll definitely be able to spread the word, do anything like that you need. Also, if you need help, if you're going to do a visit over there, feel free to get in touch with us. We arrange tours all the time, do all that sort of stuff. So we're here to be a resource. Any questions, feel free to ask now. If you want to wait.
Can I interrupt here to tell a very brief story about Eileen Foley?
Okay.
So I did go to Carrickfergus, and I went with Eileen Foley. She was mayor at the time. Now, some important things to understand in this brief story are, at the time, Carrickfergus was in excess of 90% Protestant, at a time when that really mattered significantly. Eileen Foley is a name which anybody would recognize from 100 miles away as being Catholic. And in fact, Eileen was the most Catholic of Catholics. So Eileen and I, we fly all night long on a very bumpy ride to Belfast. Couldn't sleep, it was terrible. And when we landed in Belfast Airport, the Carrickfergus Rotary Club shows up and picks us up in a small van and bring us directly to a breakfast meeting of the Rotary Club. The Rotary Club in Carrickfergus at that time anyway was so Protestant that they began every meeting by standing up and saying, "God bless the Queen." And that's what they did when we were sitting there. Now here's Eileen, obviously Catholic Foley, who had not slept all night long, had traveled, you know, from or the day before to get there, and who nobody in this room knew at all. But Eileen, they asked her to speak for a minute or two, and she stood up in front of the Protestant Rotary Club in Carrickfergus and gave about a 5-minute speech. And what was remarkable about it was that in those 5 minutes, she was able to win the entire room over in a way that just a normal human being couldn't do it. So that when she came off of the the speaking platform, and she came down into the crowd, the Rotarians left their seats throughout the room and flocked around her just to be near her and talk to her for a second, breaking the whole meeting up to do this. And, you know, I've told a lot of stories about Eileen over the years, and this is one of my very favorite ones. And of course, Eileen was the first person recognized by them. Forever. So anyway, I thought it fit in, so I would tell her.
And it's very much for us. So we obviously have our award every year named after the Eileen D. Foley Award. So thanks, Bob. And Bob was a recipient of that too. So no, it's a roast. You understand that. There was a lot of material.
Yeah. Seen some good ones of Bob Shanley in the past, giving some pretty good roasts.
Joe was great, yeah.
Yeah, Joe Shanley, sorry.
So we're here to support any questions you guys have, any connections you need to make. We're very happy to do that. Answer any questions now as you move through this process. We're happy to do that. And obviously with your sister city initiative, you know, we see all these different sister cities. You know, our program is global. We have alumni in 28 different countries. We have a whole other campus. We just established Friends Forever Central America down in Belize. So we have 2 buildings and sites down in southern Belize, and we're very tied in with that community there as well. So we are one of the few, I think, groups that is both local and global here in this area. So we think if we can be of help, we're more than happy to be of help.
When is the group coming here? Is that August? Is that what you were talking about?
The group that will come here will be in July. So those will be 10 young people from both Northern Ireland and a couple from the Republic, and I think 7 or 8 from the North. I don't know if we have one specifically from Carrickfergus, but you know, it's all kind of close together.
Just seems
Agreed.
that
Yes.
it seems that a lot of what this committee, being a small group with limited bandwidth, what we try to be good at is welcoming delegations from our sister cities. So because of the huge connection, whether there's actually a student from Carrickfergus in July, clearly Friends Forever is Carrickfergus in many different ways. So I would see it as within our purview to make sure that somehow Portsmouth is welcoming the group that visits in July, whatever that looks like. You know, let us know what the specific dates are and all of that good stuff, and we will figure out something to do.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of that's what we're doing right now with Sant'Arcangelo is coming at the end of the week. Nishinan usually comes from Japan. We alternate, and they're not coming this year, they're coming next year. Those two are our most active. We just, we're doing a greeting to Portsmouth, England, on their 100th anniversary of something that I still, they're a lot
Something
older than
becoming a
100
city.
years.
In a city 100 years ago.
Sort of like,
Been around a little longer. but
I was gonna say, I don't know how we're 400 there once.
I know,
Yeah.
that was fun.
Brexit?
So anyway, so I think that's a role that makes sense for us as
We could
sister
definitely
city
do that. I mean, you know, we'll have our, what Amelia could probably do is coordinate with our program people. Oh, sure. And we can get a couple dates. So if you guys have dates, like one of the things we do is all of our young people have to present a speech.
Yep.
So it could be very simply that we build that in, that they come here, give their speech to you all about their experience, their personal why. It's always a very moving sort of speech usually.
Yep.
So I think it could be as easy as that. They all sign photo releases, et cetera, so you guys could feel free to publicize whatever it is you want to publicize to move forward in that. If we wanted to do something a bit deeper, like if one of the local restaurants wanted to sponsor something, you know, that you're trying to engage, get them, and then we can do that sort of meet and greet. But, you know, we're not gonna just like put them out anywhere, like it would be very thoughtful about the way that they engage, because the young people obviously would be like, what am I doing this for? But a big part of their development is around community engagement and personal human connections. So we could very much integrate that into whatever you guys want, and I think make it something very positive.
Yeah.
I heard the story of the Portsmouth Y and the Carrickfergus Y being very integrally engaged. Are they involved at all at this point, or is it kind of shifted more to the Rotary side and that aspect?
Yeah, no, I mean, the Portsmouth Y hasn't really been involved for, you know, several decades.
Okay.
We became our own 501c3 in 97.
Yep.
So that's sort of when it shifted. We've always sort of kept ties with Rotary,
Mhm.
but then we just re-engaged. We partnered with the Carrickfergus Y probably from 2000 to maybe 2014, 2015.
Okay. Yeah.
And then they sort of dropped off on their own ability to provide young
Mhm.
people, like COVID. But, you know, again, when we head over there in April, we can see if Carrickfergus Y is still around, reestablish any of that sort of stuff. So, like I said, it's a very small community. When I got back in touch with the president of the Rotary Club, he was sort of like, okay, we'll listen to it. And then like he emailed me like an hour later. And he's just like, 2 of our members went through your program or have kids in your program. I mean, it's a small, tight knit community. So it's an exciting thing for you guys to be there. And as Bob Sullivan said, you know, it still is predominantly Protestant. You know, the Troubles are not front and center as they have been, but they are definitely in the background. And I think their connection with both us and with Portsmouth is just another way to help bring them and facilitate them to continue to move forward. So I think it's a positive.
And I think the brief conversation that we had enthused about having you come here to the committee is that the city and we as the representatives of the city need to make sure that we're reciprocating that relationship, that you aren't a voice crying in the wilderness up in Durham with this connection with with a city that is our official sister city. We want to make sure that we're living up to our side of that bargain.
But the last thing I would say too, because I don't want to dominate everything, which I can do, is, we do offer New Hampshire credit bearing programs now through Learn Everywhere, through the State Department of Education. So New Hampshire students get high school credits. The way this relates is we actually have a group of New Hampshire students are heading over to our site in August. So they'll be there the same time this global group is there. They'll be going to Carrickfergus. But one of the credits that they get actually, which is proved by the DOE, is on Northern Ireland culture and history. So we actually have them take a course in that, et cetera. Also on dialogue through cinema, so that we have them watch videos about Northern Ireland, et cetera. But down the road, what we could explore is a program which brings students from Portsmouth High School to Carrickfergus, to Northern Ireland for a week-long or 10-day program like we offer. And then we could also bring students from Northern Ireland here and build that reciprocal strengthening exchange. And I think that could be something really powerful that comes out of this.
How old are the students coming this summer?
14 to 18.
14 to 18.
No, Steve, your goals sound very aligned with ours. We're all about boots on the ground and these personal relationships, and I think getting the young kids involved, that just plants the seed kind of and lets them grow, and then those relationships grow and continue to foster. I know with our relationship, our strongest relationships, Nichinan and Sandacondro, and I think part of it is because of the student exchange, and having the school involved. But I think that's something that we should definitely explore.
And one of the things that's come up a couple of times with our other cities is beyond the students, because Portsmouth High School is very committed to this idea of creating global citizens, and because they have the structure in place and have been doing programs with a couple of our sister cities and elsewhere, it's a nice framework. But we have been talking about how to get adults involved and businesses and artists and whatever. So the Rotary connection is fantastic relative to Carrickfergus on that, because it would be wonderful for our folks to be going to these places as ambassadors for what our values really are. Certainly our values in Portsmouth as the city of the open door, and to share that and to, be part of existing relationships and just, spread the engagement.
Absolutely.
I have a question too. Are you guys still in touch with anyone in Carrickfergus, or are you looking for us to also find a contact for you? Because we're happy to do
I
that.
think that would be, so no, we are not currently dialoguing with them,
The
but
mayor from Antrim, who was here for the 400th, was
yeah.
the last contact of.
So,
We didn't know about that,
I mean,
yeah.
if you could bring that message to them saying,
Yeah.
you have the sister city in Portsmouth, we just talked to them, they want to engage with you all. And if there's somebody that, wants to pick that up on their end, that would be a wonderful outcome for us for your trip to.
I'm going there in April.
Yeah, that would be
So,
amazing.
Yeah,
Oh, you're
you'll
just-
be there too, so.
Yeah, she'll be there too.
I mean, if-
We'll connect.
If nothing else, that would be wonderful, just to find a
Yeah.
point of contact, whether it's mayor to mayor, or whatever
Yeah.
it is, I don't know the
Yeah, I don't know their structure either,
either, but
but we can find out for sure.
that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
We
thank
can
you.
definitely do that, yeah.
Yeah, we've been trying to, we reformed this committee last year, 2 years ago. And just been trying to rebuild these connections.
Yeah.
A lot of them got lost during COVID, especially, a lot of them. But I think this one especially is important, just given the proximity, given the language, given the history, given, I'm part Irish. My family came over from Cork, but yeah, I think this is, you know, Elliot,
It's not a big lift for us to try to help you guys out in this regard.
We appreciate that.
our biggest limitations are we're trying not to spend taxpayer money, you know what I mean, on like celebrations and parties and stuff and but we're setting it up so we can accept donations and stuff and we're trying to make that easier and try to promote that so that we do have some resources to, you know, be able to welcome guests appropriately and potentially set up where we're taking trips, you know.
And that might
That would be-
support Friends Forever as well. I mean, knowing if the greater Portsmouth residency knows that we're reinvigorating this, that we, the committee, are reinvigorating this relationship, and we're doing that through you, who have this 40-year standing, wonderful citizen diplomacy initiative, then if somebody were to donate to the fund that we're creating as a special fund within the city, and they said specifically to help the relationship with Carrickfergus, you're the folks who are doing the lifting. So, you know, I can see reciprocating kinds of things.
So, I mean, we're always happy to accept any support, but we're
Yeah,
definitely not here for that reason.
Yeah.
No.
The other thing I saw before we go is, so I wasn't just on my TikTok.
Right.
I don't
If you could even work
know.
it.
But I saw you guys have a Nelson, New Zealand. So actually, we have a student, an alumni, Holly.
Yeah.
That's from Nelson.
Oh, wow.
Oh, really?
So
Yeah.
again, yeah, I remembered that. So I just looked her up just to make sure. So
Just setting that up.
yeah, so again, at some point, she's great. She's probably about 20, 21 right now. So again, if you ever need a connection there or whatever, you know, just let
Yeah.
us know. Again, as you're moving through sort of this stuff, you know, just seeing these sort of things, we might be able to help out.
Too, I also want to mention, we also are a registered charity in the UK as well, which I don't know, just speaking of money and donations and stuff, we do have our sister charity, Friends Forever Europe is what it's called. We've been registered since 2010, which is why we own property there. And so we get grants also through the UK as well and Ireland, just as a little fun fact. So
Yeah.
we have that avenue as well.
But yeah, is there any other questions or?
No, I think this is great to have a conversation. Thank you, Ben.
Not so far.
Yeah, thank you for bringing it in. I appreciate you guys coming in. You know, I'll definitely be in touch. Yeah, I'm excited. You know, I'm excited for you guys get our connections back connected over in Carrickfergus.
Identifying somebody.
Yeah, reach out to us. And also, you know, I know it's Durham, but it's kind of close here where we are. It's right past Wagon Hill is where our office is.
Okay.
So we have our main office is just like this, except it has like windows like that all the way around.
Yep.
So if you're ever looking to like host one of these folks there,
Okay.
and you could consider us sort of your global partner in this endeavor. I mean, obviously this is great for the city hall, but if you wanted to have them there, feel free to, again, just get in touch with Amelia. We're happy to host you guys there. Do any sort of meet or greet or anything that
I
would
think
talk about that.
we want to try to do something in July when you're.
Sure.
here.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's the last 2 weeks. So July 18th through August 1st, they'll be here.
And if any of you guys ever head over, let Amelia know because she operates like our cottages, Airbnbs from there, but we can obviously, you guys can just tell her, we can have you guys stay there.
Yeah, the center sleeps just about, I think like 65-ish right now. It's the dormitory that sleeps 40, and then there's 4 private cottages too. So we rent all those out to people when we're not using them ourselves. Yeah,
That's very tough.
yeah, it's right on the sea. A little plug, it's right on the sea. It's about a 5-minute drive from the Mourne Mountains, which is also really beautiful if you're into hiking or whatnot. So it's a really nice location, but yes, if you're ever over there.
My family love going to Allalong. We live an hour and a half up the road, so yeah.
You
Yeah.
said that was about an hour drive to Carrickfergus, or did I remember that?
About an hour and a half. I would
Okay,
say.
yeah, so it's not terrible.
No, and it's about an hour south of Belfast. It's very accessible, and about an hour and a half-ish north of Dublin. So it's about almost right in the middle of Dublin and Belfast.
I just want you to, can you do a quick recap of you?
So I was born in
You know,
yeah, so
nursing school. Go ahead.
I came through Friends Forever in 2014. So I've done this program. I live and breathe everything that we do. I have been an alumni since 2018, really engaged and working. That's when I met Mary Carey when we were at the roast and doing different things. So we're very good friends. I didn't know you were going to be here today. I'm an oncology nurse. I love my job. I'm very passionate about that. We do a lot of work as well, you know, with senior citizens with Friends Forever. We work with loads of different groups, and that's something that I think is important, that we don't just work with young people. You know, we're open to working with all populations. It's not, you know, we started out just conflict resolution and we have just totally grown into a global leadership charity. But I've been doing this for years and years. I love it. I'm on the board of the sister charity in Northern Ireland, and I recently, a couple of years ago, joined our board with Friends Forever International.
First alumni board member.
Yes.
And she'll also be heading down for the third time to our site in Lee's in April, in about a month or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So doing volunteering work down there.
Yeah, there's not a day or a week goes by that I don't have something to do with Friends Forever.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Mary
Had a
Belize.
birthday.
We're in Punta Gorda, Belize. So it's southern Belize. So we, a gentleman, if you guys know Leonard
yeah.
Seagren,
Yeah.
he
I
owned,
do.
you know, Federal Cigar, you know. So he donated us 30 acres in the rainforest
Wow.
in Punta Gorda about 7 years ago. So that's a full dormitory. We have it's off the grid. We have an indigenous family that caretakes that for us. And then last year, a group out of Mississippi donated us another 5 acres with a full dormitory on the grid with 24 beds. So we're now going to be bringing FFI's program to those places. That'll be our Central American hub. So the work that we do around building kind leaders, which is, you know, we're non-political, et cetera, but I think we can all agree that a world with kinder leaders would be a better world. And, you know, it was sort of wishy-washy in the past. And now people are being like, oh, maybe they were onto something. So our goal is to, and our goal is, you know, we understand that sometimes as we set up these hubs globally, you know, the way visas work, the way travel works, that it's easier for us and more economical for the people there if we set up these hubs there. So in no time in the near future, will lots of people be able to come from that region up here, but it might not make sense anyway. So why not have a place down there so that we could bring people like Jess. She'll be heading down with a team of our alumni who are 18 to 27 or so. They go down there, they're going to be delivering workshops around empathy, compassionate communication, listening they're going to be working with over 100 young people. So that's the sort of work that we're doing. So again, it's great that you guys are a permanent committee, because I don't know a lot about municipal government, but I know like once something gets created, it's hard to get rid of it, at least citywide. So we're very happy to grow with you guys in any way that you want.
No, it's very exciting. It's very cool that you guys have all that down there, and I love that. Yeah.
Well, we have just such a big alumni network globally now. You know, we've got over 1,000 people from Northern Ireland, and it's, you know, they don't all need to be involved to my level, because maybe I'm a wee bit too involved, but like even just like last week, one of my friends that I grew up with in Portadown, she did this program but has no real engagement with us other than always supportive, and you know, it's not a negative thing. It's not a route that she goes down. But just last week, one of our New Hampshire alumni was writing a paper about the troubles in Northern Ireland, because it's not all over the news, but it's not totally disappeared, you know. So she came on to a Zoom meeting with this alumni and talked all about, you know, all the political stuff and how that can help. And even the connection that they've made is amazing. And that we have this network of people that all have different jobs and different passions, and we actually have our own alumni app now, which is really fun, so we all engage in that. So it's grown, like from when I did this program in 2014, I cannot believe where it is now. You You know, and I'm so excited to see where it's gonna be in 5, 10 years' time that I mean, I work full time. I wouldn't be engaged in something that isn't worth it, you know, so it's exciting.
Well, it's a perfect partnership for us because the goals of both of the organizations are world peace and
Yeah.
that you go about it slightly differently, but still establishing person to person connections
Yeah.
so that people understand that people are people. I think is a great partnership possibility. Yeah.
Very happy to do that.
Thanks, Ben, so much for bringing
Yeah.
us. I don't want to take up
No.
any more of your guys' time, but always good to see you there again.
Just supply back.
I'm going,
Really?
I'm going to bring it in for right here.
But no, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thanks for
just be in
partnering
touch.
together.
Ben's got Amelia's email.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure did, yeah.
Here.
Thank you so much.
No, of course.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Gosh.
You want this out right there?
Closest to the most.
Are you coming on the plane?
Yeah.
Oh, Bob's going too.
Right.
Thank you. Bye.
See you, Bob.
That was fun.
Yeah. All right, excellent. That was good. Thank you, Ben, for setting that up. So we have an update on Sister City Fund. I don't know if we have any movement.
What do we have to do?
I meant to
I
like
have to
check
eat.
with illegal and ask some questions.
I think I was supposed to do something.
So we were talking briefly at the other meeting on the 5th.
Yeah.
And we're talking specifically about the letter template that we want
Yeah.
to do. And I wondered,
I remember I remember now. The issue was that the city legal department, you know, I'm not in it anymore.
Yeah.
And it's really something they would overdo.
But-
I'm happy to do it.
We need the same letter that you and I had talked about when we were gonna establish a fund
no, we
for
just
this
need-
donation to
one
the
that-
city accounts.
works for the first donation and then is a
Will be
model
copied.
for anybody else who wants to follow it. And we talked about categories and the countries or other. And I am volunteering if it would be helpful for me to start drafting something for you to look at. Because I have a computer and a keyboard, maybe you don't.
Yeah, you know, this is a 1.5-page letter. It's not a big deal.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
if I can
Yeah,
help
you-
with that, I would be delighted to do so.
Sure, you and I could do it.
That's
Yeah.
great.
And then does the finance department need anything to just,
Doesn't sound like it.
because when we did one for Portsmouth 400, it was just creating that checkbox in the software for
Correct.
OpenGov.
It's a revenue fund. I have
So,
4 of them and they just need to give it a number.
so whatever
And
Julie or whomever needs, do it.
The letters, all of them, each individual, ultimately have to be accepted by the city council.
Yep.
That's how they
Right.
move
each
from private
donation.
money
Yeah.
to city money.
mine are not. That's why is that? Money that's donated.
Because the
to
city is
someone.
agreeing with the private donor, we'll take your money, and we will spend it the way you want us to.
Yeah. Oh, I guess my board does that. Yeah, that's true. We have a
And
State
state
always doing,
statute
like,
that says,
$10
yeah,
donation to the police. You know,
Yeah.
for
I know. yeah.
moving it, like, okay. All right, awesome. So we'll get,
So if you will draft and work with Bob on that, I will talk to finance about creating the revenue fund
And get the tax ID.
and get the tax ID. Yep, I think it's the same one, but yes.
I meant to talk with legal, but they've been so busy that I'm trying.
I don't think we need them. When we talked to them, it was really, it's a finance thing, boom. So I'll talk to.
You know, I
finance.
could just go around and get mad at me.
Yeah.
No, I think they're set. I think after our last discussion was like, yep, it's just a revenue fund, a special revenue fund. Have at it.
Yeah.
So I'll talk to Michael.
All right. All right, we'll go to the next item. We have the letter from Russia.
Yeah. Which I was looking for because I resent it to myself today.
I always have a hard time pronouncing it.
update on the Sister City Fund.
So Bob and I are gonna draft the letter. Christina's gonna talk to finance, set up the special revenue fund, get the tax ID, and we'll be good to go.
So I'm gonna fill in the letter and
Yeah, accepting the first letter will
Right.
create the fund, and then you'll have.
You're gonna have to charge us for your work now. Cause you're on, you know, you look for a
Right.
vote now.
I'm sure you and I can work something.
Very uncomfortable.
Laughing about it.
Stay 6 minutes.
every 6 minutes, exactly. Okay, so we received a letter from Peter Tolstikov Andreevich. Inquiry regarding the Severodvinsk Portsmouth Sister City connection. Dear Chair Blaylock and committee members, my name is Peter and I'm a resident of Severodvinsk, Russia. I recently learned about the long-standing sister city relationship between our cities established in 1995. Is that true?
I think we got that.
95 was,
Yeah, that's true, but it's not an official sister city. It's an agreement between the Severodvinsk connection here and a group of citizens in Severodvinsk.
good to know. Thank you.
So it's not with their actual government or their.
Did we get a copy of that
Correct.
letter?
No, but I'm gonna send it to the
Yeah,
committee. Yeah.
you sent it to us. Yeah, it's as, for whatever reason, it came through as JPEGs.
Oh, okay, good. I thought I was, all right. I thought that's why it was here. Okay. And would we like to talk about what to do about this letter?
Yeah, with.
How do we respond?
So this is a citizen, not the city.
I mean, we could. Yeah, if it's just a
It's
citizen.
asking, what is the best way for a resident of your sister city to stay in touch or contribute to the committee's goals of promoting international communication and understanding?
You can,
So the last time we as the city, i.e. the mayor, and I can't honestly remember, I know we sent letters during COVID to all of our sister city mayors and got no response from Severodvinsk. And I then followed up with Alex Herlihy here, who was part of the Severodvinsk connection and reported to us that it was basically moribund. Nothing had happened. There wasn't any bandwidth here to have there be a Severodvinsk connection. But he said, send any communication to a particular person, a woman at City Hall. She reported, as I remember this, because this is at least a year ago, she reported to him that they had replied to a letter from our mayor. Our mayor never got anything. So we said, could you send it again? Because we didn't get it and never heard anything back. On top of that, in the current environment, there's not a lot of enthusiasm in Severodvinsk to be in touch with us, as I understand it. But you had mentioned at our last meeting that that Sister Cities International has a Russian roundtable, and that maybe we could get some direction from them.
I think yes, and also I think we talked about what our bandwidth is in terms of focusing on our established.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
And I'd like to know from the roundtable how we could pick up, if we chose to, a relationship with this connection. Again, it's not a sister city connection, so it would be difficult for the roundtable to help us make a contact because they're not going to have any paperwork. But I'd be interested to know what they suggest. Here's our situation. Here's somebody in Severodvinsk who's interested in the people to people that we're in favor of.
Yeah.
And how can we
it's not a friendship city, it's listed as a sister city
listed
on our website. Yeah, but the actual, but there is an agreement, it's just not between
the cities.
the two cities.
yeah, there's a letter, I think there's a letter. I know I have a copy of the letter.
So it's
I can't
organization to
remember if it
organization?
was, yeah, if we have all the letters posted on the website, although we
Okay.
should. Yeah, it's organization to organization. And Rotary, again, was very involved. And I think you said last time that Jim Splain went.
Yes.
That's the Portsmouth Rotary, right? Okay.
So what, is there a name of the group of citizens over there that it's, like, is it their Rotary or their Friends Forever or their?
It was,
The connection is, right, it's a submarine base.
yeah,
Yeah.
But the
And
group
they
over
were-
there that was connected to the group here.
they were anti-nuclear activists. But I don't know that they actually, I'm trying to remember if it was on letterhead. Let me look up the letter that I will share with everyone.
That'd be fun. I'd like to see
Yes.
the establishment.
But yeah, that one sounds like a little complicated, just that it's,
Just,
you know, given the country, that's not with the government. That it might be some politically motivated, might have different goals than we do.
yeah, and
That was
further
more why I asked.
complicating things is not only is Sverdlovsk a Russian nuclear submarine base, it's a Russian nuclear armament test base that had an accident a couple of years ago. And everybody seemed to survive it, but they were testing some new weapon that backfired literally.
I think I'm good. I think we can just.
Yeah. Focus on character.
Plus, it's in like Siberia.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, it's not like Moscow.
As much as we wanted to. But I don't want to, I mean, in the interest of our philosophical underpinnings, I don't want to blow this guy off.
No.
Understood.
No.
Yeah.
But maybe something about our currently focusing on well-established things, but we'll look into it, or I don't even want to say that much, but
After that little Ukraine thing is over.
Yeah, I think a letter back saying, we're reestablishing our committee and focusing on, the
Say
two
whatever.
cities that we have existing relationships with and, maybe down
Now.
the road we'll have the bandwidth for it.
Now,
Yeah.
Something like that.
That's good, because then we're at least acknowledging we're being good manners and
Yeah,
not lying, you know.
right. It's true. We don't
and
have,
maybe asking if there are others there who were part of the original thing or not. I don't know.
he doesn't sound
Like-
connected to any of it. It's like he just discovered that there was a connection.
They're not
So I don't think he's part of
Almost. Yeah, okay.
maybe he wants a visa. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're increasingly hard to get.
Yeah, I heard.
I heard that. Yeah. Okay, I'll bring something to the next.
Yeah, okay, we can look at it.
Yeah.
All right, next we have Sant'Angelo Mayor visits Durham and Film Festival,
Okay.
the Cinema Ritrovato. I'm saying these words a lot.
Ritrovato.
I'm proud that I
It's
can
good, pretty
enunciate
good.
that well.
Yeah.
I remember when we started and I could not say
still can't say
Sant'Angelo.
Sant'Angelo.
Now the mayor's in that.
It just sounds awkward.
Yeah,
He's-
he's practicing.
Yeah. But yeah, so.
Okay, so we have the Levinson room. We have the tableware. I heard from Amy at UNH.
Yeah.
And they are up to 40 people for the invitation list, and I asked her to share that with me so I could see if that included the people we thought should be invited, or if we're talking about more than 40.
Yeah.
She thinks some of them will not come. They're gonna be at the film in the morning, or films,
Mhm.
many they're watching. She wanted to make sure we had all the film information, the film schedule, which we can certainly share with the public through the library.
And she sent the link to the.
And the screening of The Lost North End at 3 p.m., probably the most of interest to us.
I didn't realize that till I looked at that schedule, that there, as she said when she was here, there's a preview of the prequel to Lost North End that she and her students are creating.
Uh-huh.
That's part of the lounge
Mhm.
exhibit, and then there's the actual Lost North End. Did you find out if you have a copy of it, of Lost North End?
Do not, but it's available digitally, so we can
So
just
you've
get it
got
offline. So yes, Ben already said they're at the Hampton Inn downtown. Friday to Monday, and then Monday they're going to Boston. And having lunch at the consulate on Tuesday. And they don't seem to have plans beyond that at the moment.
Monday afternoon, evening?
It just says they're checking out Monday, they're going to Boston Monday, so it doesn't say. It says
Because we-
Tuesday is when they're having lunch, so.
So we're still trying to figure out when the Public Art Review Committee can talk to Tiziano with an interpreter.
Right,
Sounds like it has
and I
to
did
be
mention that to
Monday.
Amy, but yeah, that's a good thought. Let's do question mark
And
Monday for,
it would be whatever time that then I can communicate to the Public Art Review Committee. You know, can a couple of your members join a meeting, maybe in this room? To discuss the questions they have
Yeah.
about the art.
okay.
And I think the mayor, Mayor McEachern is planning to attend Sunday.
Okay,
Yes.
Okay, so we don't need to worry about setting up a separate meeting for the mayors to talk to each other,
okay.
unless for some reason they
Or
want.
they can, yeah, if they want to on the fly. They plan to attend the weekend film festival. There was talk of the delegation visiting the schools on Monday, but I don't know if those plans have moved forward. She had talked to Sam Bombarelli and they said they'd look into it, so that's not set, but that could possibly be a visit to the schools on Monday. The guest list is growing. I'm up to about 40 people, although not all will attend. And the dean of the College of Liberal Arts has offered to contribute some funding for the reception as well, which is great. So I'll talk to Amy about how we might buy it so it just gets charged to them rather than trying to share money between us, which sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah.
And then I sent her what I heard from DeStefano's, which was like 9 sandwiches and 9 calzones because we thought we had like more like 25 people. So I have to check in with them, but that was going to be $287. And then we're planning on getting some kind of, we were going to look at salad, but then we thought maybe crudité, like just vegetables are easier to handle in a stand around walking, talking thing, and maybe some fruit to balance out the sandwiches because just sandwiches is kind of. And then where'd she put this? I know I saw this on here. Somewhere today, she told me about getting desserts. Oh, there we go. She ordered some special chocolate boxes for the reception dessert. And the chocolatier is going to make a truffle inspired by Tonino Guerra, which should be fabulous.
So we don't need to buy anything from Massimo's, is that where that
Correct.
is?
Yeah.
So DeStefano has confirmed that but now you just
They
need
can
to
do it.
up
I
the
think we're
order.
gonna have to up the order, but I haven't seen her. I don't know if in her 40s she was including like our city council. I don't know if she was including
Yeah.
our high school people. We did discuss not including the students because it was just getting too big. But are we inviting some of the teachers? So I need to see her list before we know.
Yeah,
How many of our people are on her list already?
Yeah. And we could invite the council, right?
Again, don't know how many will come, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And how many on our committee are gonna be there?
So
This is the 29th.
planning to go to the whole.
Out of
It's a
town?
Sunday.
Yep.
I have a visitation at Javern Wood,
Okay,
which is called today,
the 29th,
20, it's a Sunday,
It
right?
is a Sunday,
Yeah.
29th, but not this Sunday, it's the next
Next,
one.
yeah.
Okay, anybody? Did you say you're away?
No, I'll be there.
You'll be there?
Yeah.
Good.
And I'll be there.
You'll be there, okay. Do we know? Should be. Mr. Sullivan,
It could be if you want me to be.
It's up to you.
I would like you to be.
Who's gonna hold Robert's other hand?
Okay, all right, but I will invite the whole committee, but I will kind of know in my head that about half the committee will be there. And then we'll judge the amounts by then. And our office manager, Margaret, will help me set everything up, and she may actually be there that day. We'll see if we need her, but.
I just had a thought on these, kind of like a little bit of a step back thought for these receptions that we are hopefully gonna be doing more and more of. You know, I think we've gravitated towards like some Italian themed food because of the relationship here. But I was wondering, you know, if there wasn't something signature to Portsmouth that we wanted to like share with our guests, you know, I thought of like the Portsmouth like orange cake thing, you know, that there's like a historical Portsmouth orange cake. We served it at the 400th dinner, you know, that sort of thing that we wanted to like, you know, have at like every reception, just as like, this is our signature thing.
Yeah.
The orange cake may not be the thing, but like, I don't know, you know, just maybe something we want to think about is like, how do we want to represent our city in these events? So I don't know, just something to throw out there.
Seems it's a great idea.
Speaking of, should we be giving our visitors from Santa Angelo a gift?
At least the mayor has probably received some, but the other three have not been here, as far as I know. So we certainly could.
It's like we should.
I'm always happy to provide some library bags. Carriers, but we could put something in, but I don't know what.
Want me to ask the mayor on that one, or?
Yeah, I can ask Joanna, because we've got kind of a set list, as we've talked about what are our gifts.
And you'll know what they've already got, or
So we've got,
don't wanna
and I
keep
just
giving you
don't
a-
remember.
Yeah.
What, if anything, he
This is what
gave
doorstop.
to Mayor Secretary.
right. Who's your fifth doorstop?
You think Joanna?
Doors.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
sure stuff.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask Joanna tomorrow.
Okay.
And
That recipe.
Just sent it to you.
Did you?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Which
you-
popovers can make, by the way. They made it for us for the 400th dinner on
That's great.
Congress Street, so
Let me
they.
find out how much
they
chocolate
have,
you want.
like the ability to do that.
Yeah, because I'm always torn. It's nice that we have the connection with the North End and the Italian Americans. But when I go to Italy, if someone started serving me American food.
Right. You want a burger in Italy? No.
Yeah, like here's your burger and fries because we want you to feel comfortable. I would be like, can I have some Italian food?
Yeah. it's a
So I
little-
think to your point, if there were things like our seafood or
Yeah.
Moe's
Okay.
is the most Portsmouth thing there is.
Yeah.
I love most stuff, don't get me wrong, but.
No, it's, yeah.
so yeah, let's.
It was
talk about-
like when the mayor wanted to bring the mayor from Nichinan to Nichinan restaurant, right? And I was like, well, that's not genuine, you know,
Right.
Japanese cuisine. That's very American sushi.
Take them to Lexi's.
Yeah, but I kind of agree with your point. Yeah.
So let's keep that in mind for the next.
Did you connect with Donna Garganta?
I have not yet, no, but I do have. She's on the list, but we haven't connected with anyone yet, so that's why I asked Amy to share their list, and we'll see where there's duplication.
Good.
So I will write to all of you as I get the rest of this information, because there won't be decisions really, I don't think, I hope.
Yeah, it's just more,
Having a meeting, just kind of,
yeah.
here's who's coming and here's the food coming, and then if you have a question, you can call me.
Yeah.
Just say,
I think that's.
it's about 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
No, it's a week.
We can-
It's a week and a half. It's okay. I did tell them that we would confirm, like the end of this week, beginning of next, the numbers at Stefano's, but they were fine with the order.
Right. It's terrific.
All right, anything else on that? Next agenda item, Carrickfergus, we did, Portsmouth UK 100th.
Pleased to report, because I haven't had crickets, but I am pleased to report that the high school is planning to have the Portsmouth High School chorus record the song as a video and send it in time, so, and they're delighted to do. Apparently, they replied, they thought to me, but it didn't come to me. But now it has. So, so that's a yes. And our mayor recorded his video message to Portsmouth UK today. And I sent the link off to Carol in the Lord Mayor's office this afternoon.
Excellent. So there's no more for us to do.
No,
Yay.
So,
I think Rich and I would be willing to hand deliver those things.
I know.
yeah, we should, right?
A standing invitation for both the
And
April.
appropriate if we
That's right.
showed up by boat too, I think. My clipper ship. We should get a clipper ship to greet people.
That would be good.
Alright. I was happy that I talked to the mayor today and he was like, oh, I just filmed that today. And I was like, all right, good timing. Yeah, you knew that we had a meeting tonight, I think. Yeah, and I'm
Update.
happy that the kids, the chorus, they did that too. That's awesome. Yeah. Update on Nelson, New Zealand. That was exciting to hear that Steve and Holly from Friends Forever is from Nelson, New Zealand. So that's some boots on the ground here. I haven't heard anything. I asked the mayor today if he had heard any correspondence. He hasn't heard, boo.
I haven't
So
either, so.
it is what it is. But maybe now I'll try to, I get in touch with Holly, that I can use that as another just reason to reach out and
Yeah, you had said that your contact has stepped back from being ambassador, but that he had put forward a couple of Americans.
Yep,
to-
yep. Yeah, so a little less connected to Portsmouth because those Americans aren't from Portsmouth. My suspicion is they're gonna push from wherever community they're from to be the strong sister city to Nelson, New Zealand. If so be it, but I haven't heard that they've made any decisions, so. So that's still out there, hoping for, positive response, but. Update on correspondence with Hungary. Where are we with that? I forget where we were with
I do
Hungary.
too.
I know we had,
Thought that we determined to kind of let
same
that
with the,
be.
yeah,
That's all we heard for.
Yeah.
Because that was part of our focus on the active relationships.
do you agree, Robert?
I think that is what we agreed
Yeah.
to was that pass for now.
Yeah. I remember we brought in Peter Sumsich and
Yeah.
There's another election coming up. in
Yeah.
Hungary.
interesting.
Let's watch that.
All
Halifax.
right, update on Halifax. Mayor McCackron did say he spoke with their mayor like 3 times. But he got the impression that the mayor from Halifax was very busy. So he was trying to kind of just be respectful. So there hasn't been any concrete movement, but that conversation has continued at least. I asked him, I was like, well, did it seem like they would entertain it, And he was like, I couldn't get it. He didn't he was focused on something else.
The reception, the way I understood the reception where he met with him was our New England efforts to try to reestablish or regenerate the relationship, the trade relationship with Canada, particularly tourism. So I don't know if there's anything that we can do to encourage that. I mean, if all of Portsmouth is anxiously encouraging.
I'm sure within the last week, there's been something in the media about another tour ship that's gonna go to.
Yes, there is,
No,
right?
go
Yeah.
There was talk of a ferry,
Right.
high-speed ferry from Portsmouth to Halifax.
That's years out though.
Years out, yeah, overnight. But
That could be it though.
I mean, honestly, it would be
To Halifax?
the closest and easiest to get to sister city we have.
Yeah.
If it became a sister city, I mean, you could go to sleep and wake up there.
The Scotia Queen, whatever used to go out of Portland,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah, there was.
considering coming out of here.
So I thought that kind of went away because nobody was
It did,
going.
but
So
No, thanks you, because I did
27.
start researching that as much as I could when that article came out. And the ship has cars and stuff like capacity, you know what I mean? So it's a full on. So it would actually, I hope it works. I think it'd be good for both communities, but it wouldn't be like everyone's dropping their car off and going to Halifax. You know what I mean? Which was I know in the past, there was gonna be some ferry to, I don't know if it was like the Cape or something,
People.
right? And then we were like, oh, we're just turning into a parking lot. That's not, that's a funny problem.
Article says 1,000 passengers, 200 vehicles.
Yeah.
Wow,
There's also a casino.
Yeah, right.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
it is.
So that, you know what I mean, that's gotta be on the mayor of Halifax's radar, right? So we're not the only ones.
Can do to
Yeah,
further it.
and if that happens, that would be
Just keep
huge.
lines.
That would be like just a very easy connection.
Yeah, I mean, dealing with 1,000 passengers in Portsmouth is,
Yes,
that's gonna be
unbelievable, really, yeah.
doable.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's a effort to revamp our port facilities to be more than a concrete slab.
Cause the American Cruise Lines is kind of suited, it's our size.
Yeah.
And has not impacted anybody, hopefully benefited the retailers, but
But they don't stay overnight in our hotels and eat in our restaurants, which these people would do. If they're bringing their car and they're coming overnight, then they're staying here. They're not turning around and going back, right?
Yeah, or they're coming down and they're driving to Boston or,
Yeah.
you know, we would
Yeah.
assume many would stay here and at least a day or two. But it could be a jumping off point to
True,
all points New England,
true.
so.
But they should stay here.
Oh, we would think so. We certainly do our very best to make them aware of it.
Good for local economy. Yeah, having that. You know what I mean? Obviously, everyone wants all the Canadians to come down and spend their money, but if they would be all concentrated, you know, this is the port that would, it could be very beneficial. All right,
And I'm sorry, I have not reached out to the sports connection at SCI, but I will
Okay.
put that on this month's
yeah,
to do.
I must have missed a meeting. What is that?
So there was a round table that I was on from Sister Cities International. I don't remember what, I think it was the French round table for some reason, but something I was listening to, they mentioned that there's a person at SCI whose job is focusing on sports and connections between sister cities of a sports nature. So I was gonna reach out to him and say, we've talked about that in here, as to your point, getting beyond just, well, I mean, this might still be kids, but getting beyond the high school, could there be some kind of sports connections between our sister cities, any of them? And I thought I'd reach out to him and just say, what do other cities do? What does that mean? Do you guys have soccer matches? They've had competitions of really odd things they mentioned on the roundtable. Like, I don't know, darts tournaments. During COVID, they set up things where in each city, they had some competition and then they reported, rather than them traveling, they were
yeah.
competing with each other in their own city. But I wanted to reach out and just get some ideas for like, what have other cities done? Is it something we might wanna do? So it was a lower priority.
You had mentioned last time that all of a sudden there were all of these Sister City International roundtables popping up.
Yes.
This is the 70th or 70th anniversary of the creation of Sister City International. So that's why all of these roundtables are active. And there's some kind of,
Conference too.
yes, that's what I was gonna say. I have
Texas.
maybe.
Someplace hot. I remember, like July, and it was somewhere like, is it San Jose?
Well, I just saw the City
San
International
Antonio?
hosting the sports diplomacy panel
That's sports.
in spring leaders, but that's, yeah.
Yeah, there is a big SCI, you're right. I can't remember when and where, but I think it was somewhere hot.
Right, and it's the summer.
Yeah.
But no, I think it'd be cool. I think the World Baseball Classic just showed, you know, the prime example. If you have all the money in the world, what you could do. It'd be cool if we had a Portsmouth World Baseball Classic and you have like Nichina and Halifax come down and Carrickfergus.
Yeah.
But not easy.
There's an effort underway and it's public now, so I don't mind sharing it, but to bring a professional level soccer team to the Seacoast. And it would be a natural fit for some of our sister cities to
Yeah.
have a friendly with them. It was very cool. So something, again, couple years out, but.
Yep.
something to keep in mind.
Cause I did meet with a gentleman who was trying to,
Caleb.
yeah, and he was hoping to like use the high school, like serve beer and stuff, but yeah. I was like, well, that's not gonna work.
Yeah, we had enough challenge scheduling a match between the RMS Scott when the sailors were here who wanted to play soccer.
Yes, that was a
I mean,
great,
they come with uniforms and equipment and everything. They just need a place to
But-
play, and people to play against.
But a pro team would build a stadium, right?
That's the intention.
peas.
We'll talk later.
It's like the unusual.
Does anyone have any new business or miscellaneous?
We have a visitor.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, Nina.
Any questions?
Do you have any questions for us? You can unmute yourself.
Well, thanks for being here.
Okay,
Yeah,
Steve, thank you.
thank you. Anyone, no miscellaneous, I entertain a motion to adjourn?
So, second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
Thank you.